Welcome back. So today we're looking at a transcript of a commentary video. It's aiming to debunk some of Candace Owens' theories about Charlie and Erika Kirk.
Right. The missing wedding photo thing?
That and some legal stuff. And, the source material is passionate. It's really detailed. The writer knows their stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But just knowing the facts is one thing. Presenting them in a way that actually works, that's a whole different ballgame. So let's get into it.
I'm ready. Yeah, I've read this a couple of times, and it definitely packs a punch. It's angry.
It is angry. And that, I think, brings us right to our first point, which is about elevating credibility by moderating the ad hominem attacks.
Knew you'd start there.
The reliance on just extreme emotional language, the personal insults, it really hurts the authority of the actual facts being presented.
I figured. I was counting them. We've got disgusting, evil witch, psychopathic, sick, twisted, deranged nutjob.
Yeah.
Demonics is in there a bunch of times. But I have to ask, isn't that the genre? This is commentary YouTube. Anger gets the clicks.
Right.
The people watching this, they probably want to see the target get, just destroyed. So if you tone it down, do you risk boring them?
That is the big assumption, right? That rage bait is the only thing that works for the algorithm. But we have to look at what the author is actually trying to do here.
Okay.
They're not just venting. The goal is to debunk. They want to convince someone, maybe a neutral person or even a wavering Owens fan, that these theories are just flat out false.
And the name-calling gets in the way of that.
It creates a huge barrier. If you're that neutral listener, you're looking for some kind of objective truth. And this level of just, vitriol, it suggests you're biased and maybe unstable.
I see what you mean. It makes it feel like you've walked into a personal fight, not an investigation.
Exactly. It's that boy who cried wolf effect. If you call someone a psychopath in the first 30 seconds, what happens when you get to the actual smoking gun evidence?
Like the Newsweek statement?
Yeah, by that point, the audience is just numb. They've already filed the author away as just another hater, not a serious analyst. The good points get totally lost in the noise.
Okay, so how do we fix this without, sucking all the life out of it? We don't want it to sound like a legal document.
The suggestion is to aim for a tone of clinical dismantling instead of emotional retaliation.
Clinical dismantling.
Let the absurdity of her claims speak for itself. You just present the contradictory facts. You don't have to tell the audience how to feel about her mental state. You want to be the adult in the room.
I like that. Clinical dismantling. It sounds precise. So let's workshop an example. There's that line quoting Jenny Robinson. Right now it says, Jenny Robinson goes, "This Erika Kirk blights, keep the woman's name out of your mouth, you disgusting evil witch."
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's distracting. You're processing the insult, not the point. So a clinical rewrite would just focus on the substance. You could say something like, Jenny Robinson expressed strong, unfiltered disapproval of Owens mentioning Erika Kirk.
Okay, that is cleaner. You get the anger without actually adopting it.
Right.
What about the parts where the author tries to analyze Owens' motives? There's that line, Candace Owens is that woman scorned. Literally see the jealousy dripping from her mouth.
Yeah, that's pure speculation about her emotions. It makes the author sound like a mind reader, which, hurts your credibility.
So what's a better way?
Analyze the professional motives. Instead of jealousy dripping from her mouth, you could frame it like Owens' hyper-focus on the Kirks' personal life appears to stem from her previous professional conflicts with Turning Point.
That actually makes Owens sound more calculate, not just crazy.
Right?
Which, ironic, probably serves the author's argument even better.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you stop calling someone crazy and start calling them calculated, your argument gets 10 times stronger. So instead of insane or deranged, just say unsubstantiated, say speculative, and then immediately hit them with the facts.
It's less, I hate her, and more, she's wrong and here's why.
Exactly.
Okay, so we cool the temper. But even if we fix the tone, I have to say, I struggled to follow the story. I felt like I was in a pinball machine.
And that is our second critique. It's about strategically structuring the evidence for maximum impact. Right now, the narrative just jumps erratically between all these different points.
It does. It felt like stream of consciousness. I actually tracked it. It goes from Owens' show to a lawsuit with Laura Loomer, then back to the missing photo, then over to a priest praying.
Then back to the lawsuit venue in Delaware.
Right, and then finally back to the photo explanation. I honestly lost track of which conspiracy we were even talking about at any given.
That ping-pong effect is a huge weakness. It forces the listener to do all the work, to piece it all together. But worse, it just dilutes the power of your evidence.
How so?
The author has a smoking gun, right? The real explanation for the moved photo?
Yeah.
But it's buried. It's buried in the middle of some complaint about legal procedures. It's like hiding a diamond in a pile of junk mail.
So what's the fix? Reorganize the whole thing? I mean, it's all connected.
The suggestion is to rebuild it using distinct thematic pillars. Instead of following the video's timeline, the author should group the rebuttal by topic. You deal with one allegation completely, from start to finish, before you even mention the next one.
Okay, let's try to build that. If you were rewriting this, what's pillar 1?
Pillar 1, the lawsuit hypocrisy. Group everything about Laura Loomer, the subpoena claims, the Macron lawsuit contradictions, all of it. Put it in one section.
Okay.
Don't mention the photo, don't mention the priest, just destroy her legal credibility from the jump.
So you establish a foundation of untrustworthy. Then what?
Then you move to pillar 2, the marital issues conspiracy. This is where you bring in the woman scorned stuff and the priest visiting the house.
Right.
You'd explain clearly that a priest visiting before a tour is totally normal for them. You shut down the whole marital crisis idea in one clean shot.
And that leaves the big one for the end. Pillar 3 is the photo.
That's your climax. You save your strongest evidence for last. Right now, the explanation about the photo that the daughter moved it is just sort of tossed out there.
It is, yeah.
In a structured version, you treat it like a mystery. You present Owen's wild theory, divorce, murder. He let that tension build for a sec. And then you drop the Newsweek rebuttal as the final mic drop.
I like that. It turns the whole thing into a story, detective novel. But I want to go back to that first pillar, the legal one. I got pretty confused reading it.
You were not alone. And that's our third critique, strengthening the rebuttal of the hypocrisy argument. The part about the legal venues, Tennessee versus Delaware, it's legally specific, but the argument itself is kind of vague.
Right. The author says she asked to dismiss in Delaware, making the argument that they need to bring the lawsuit to Tennessee. And then they say, what difference does it make? Oh, it makes a huge difference. And I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, why? Why does it make a huge difference?
What is the difference? The author never explains it.
Yeah.
And that's the weakness. The author assumes we all understand the legal strategy behind venue changes. So without explaining why this proves Owens is scared or hypocrite, it just sounds like boring procedural stuff, like normal lawyer things.
So the suggestion is to simplify it, focus on the behavior?
Exactly. You have to explicitly connect the legal moves to the character assessment. Think of it like a sports analogy.
Okay.
Imagine a team that talks a huge game. We can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. But then, right before the championship, they file a complaint saying they won't play unless the game is moved to their home stadium where they own the refs.
That clicks instantly. It's not about the venue. It's about avoiding a fair fight.
That is the comparison the author needs to make. It's public bravado versus private evasion.
So instead of asking, what difference does it make, you just have to spell it out.
You clarify it. You say something like, Owens publicly dares people to sue her, claiming she wants the truth in court. But in the Macron case, she didn't fight on the facts. She fought on technicalities, trying to get the case thrown out because it was filed in the wrong state.
And you could add, by trying to move the case, she's just using legal tactics to delay and avoid, which completely contradicts her whole public persona.
Right. It bridges that gap between the dry legal fact and the emotional point you want to make, which is that she's a hypocrite. You have to do that translation for the audience.
That makes the whole hypocrisy argument actually land. Okay, speaking of arguments, I want to talk about how the author handles her investigative journalism, the section mocking the tips at Candace.com thing.
Ah, yes. This brings us to our fourth and final critique, utilizing steel manning to destroy the opposing argument.
Steel manning?
The piece right now relies a lot on straw manning, mocking the opponent's position, doing a silly voice, but it's much stronger to take their best point and dismantle that.
I noticed that. The author just mocks the URL and says the tips are all about Owens making it all about me. And look, I get it. It's funny to mock a generic email address, but does it actually disprove the tips themselves?
It doesn't, not at all. And that's the weakness. I mean, focusing on her ego is a pretty weak critique. The real issue is the quality of those tips.
Right.
By focusing on her ego, the author totally misses the chance to expose the fundamental flaw in her whole method.
So instead of she's so vain, We should be saying these tips are garbage?
Or even better, we should be saying why they're garbage. The suggestion is to shift the critique from her personality to her methodology. Prove why getting anonymous public tips is an insanely unreliable way to investigate serious claims like murder.
So let's try to rewrite that. Instead of making fun of the website, we would say what?
You'd argue something like, Owens admits her investigation is just based on unverified emails from strangers. She treats these anonymous tips like they're confirmed facts without doing any of the basic journalistic work to actually verify them.
That hits so much harder. You're attacking her competence, not just her personality. It reminds me of the priest narrative, actually. Owens claims the priest's presence means there's marital trouble. The author just calls her crazy for thinking that.
But let's still man it for a second. If you see a priest showing up late at night at your neighbor's house, you might think something is wrong too.
That's true.
It's not an inherently crazy thought to have.
It's a leap, but it's not impossible. So if you just call her deranged for it, you might lose some listeners who are thinking, well, it is a little weird.
And this is where steel manning is so powerful. You acknowledge their premise, yes, a priest visiting can signal a crisis, and then you dismantle it with specific context.
So the rewrite would be something like, Owens assumes a priest only visits a home in crisis, but she ignores the established context that the Kirks frequently host clergy for blessings before they travel, which is a common practice in their circle.
It completely dismantles the premise. You aren't just shouting, you're wrong, you're explaining why she's wrong by providing the missing piece of the puzzle.
It's the difference between winning a YouTube comment fight and winning a debate.
One is a fight, the other is a correction.
And that seems to be the theme here. This script is currently a fight. It wants to punch back. But to be effective, it really needs to be a correction.
The source material has so much good information, but it gets in its own way. The author is so angry, and to be fair, the stuff they're reviewing is outrageous.
Accusing someone of murder over a photo.
Right, so the anger is understandable. But in losing their cool, they lose their authority.
It's that paradox where the louder you yell, the less people actually listen.
And for a debunking video, you need them to listen. You're trying to deprogram people. If you scream at them, they just dig their heels in. If you calmly walk them through the logic, you might actually get somewhere.
Before we wrap, can we circle back to the structure one more time? You said save the photo evidence for the end as the climax.
Yeah.
Is there a risk that people might tune out before they get to the best part?
That's always a risk, but that's why the thematic pillars approach works so well. You're not just rambling, you're signposting. You can say at the beginning, we are going to get to the definitive proof about that photo, but first, let's establish the pattern of behavior.
So you use the structure to create a narrative hook. Stick around, I've got the answer.
Right. In the current script, the answer is just thrown around. It has no narrative tension. By structuring it, you control the flow. You use the legal pillar to show she's untrustworthy. You use the priest pillar to show she ignores context. And then you use the photo pillar to show she's just factually wrong. It's a 1-2-3 punt.
That progression, untrustworthy, context-blind, factually wrong, that is a devastating arc. It's so much stronger than just, she's a witch, she's a liar, she's a psychopath.
And it engages the audience's intelligence. You're asking them to follow a logical argument, not just join a mob.
Well, I think we've given the listener a lot to work with. This is a heavy lift, rewriting a script like this from the ground up.
It is, but the raw material is all there. The author has the facts. They just need a better container for them. So to summarize, we're suggesting 3 main improvements. First, replace the demonic, psychopathic insults with a cool, factual, almost clinical tone.
That builds authority.
And avoids that boy who cried wolf effect.
Second, group the arguments into those clear thematic pillars: legal, marital, and the photo. Stop jumping around. Build a cumulative case.
And finally, clarify the logic. Explain the implications of things like the venue changes. Use clear analogies. And use steel manning to attack her methodology, not just her ego.
By tightening the logic, lowering the emotional temperature, the piece becomes a devastating takedown of the conspiracy, not just another angry voice online.
Exactly. We invite the listener to rework the script with these lenses: clinical tone, structural pillars, and logical steel manning. And please submit it again. We would love to see the next draft. Thanks for listening.